Yep, I f***ed up. Look, this may not come as a surprise to you. I've made a lot of videos talking about Grant Cardone and his business models, how he makes money, really all public information to give you more insight so that you could view the businesses that maybe you do business with or invest with a little bit more critically. I consider myself extremely honest and transparent in the information that I provide, how I collect it, and what it is that my mission is, my purpose is. Look, did I make stupid mistakes last year? Of course. I made a lot of mistakes last year. And my resolution for 2019 is not to make those same mistakes again. See, there's something within the human condition that when you get invited to the Clout House to speak about real estate investing, and you show up in Mr. Beast's video that received over 20 million views, even though I only showed up for 2 seconds.
Never there, what do you think of them? Yeah. Cash and jumping.
I said no.
Try and eat it.
Got organic.
I showed up in somebody's video that has 13 million subscribers when I was invited there about what I do best, real estate and finance. Yet that excitement led me to come up with and execute an idea that was very stupid and childish. I thought, well, gosh, if this is what works with Mr. Beast, this must be what the finance community wants as well. And I was very, very wrong. But let's look for a moment at the videos that I've made of Grant Cardone specifically, because I realize that some of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, here's me, Kevin, he's obsessed with Grant Cardone. And I understand that impression based on titles, which remember, YouTube is the land of clickbait, because after all, it is the survival of the strongest clickbait on YouTube. Now, if you look closely at my videos, you'll see what they really are. They are a business, smaller business, commenting on another business that is 10, 20, 100 times the size of the small business, sharing critical information so that the public could make their own decision about perhaps what is right or what is wrong or who is correct or who cares, whatever. It's more information. And as I always encourage in my videos, you should make it a mission for yourself to not holistically align with one person, to be so aligned with one person's belief that everything else is wrong, but rather you should have this open mind, this open concept of, I'm going to take my cherries from different pies and I'm going to take what I think is best and formulate my own conclusions. That's what I encourage you to do. I just want to give you more of that information, the cherries, so to speak. It's nice for you to have selection, in my opinion. And so much like PewDiePie, the most subscribed YouTuber on YouTube, and much like H3H3 Productions, both highly respected YouTubers and actually friends who make critical commentary of other people in their arena or their peers. I make, or have made, critical videos of other people within my niche, or niche, however you want to call it, to expose my opinions on what other information people are giving. My videos just happen to be done so in a business sense. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't made some of them in a childish manner. I completely agree with that. And again, my mission for 2019 is to learn from the mistakes I made in 2018 and continue to maintain that professional image that is so important to my business, my real estate brokerage, the real estate educational services that we provide so many of you in the real estate investing course, in the real estate crash courses, in the real estate agent sales courses. All of this information to help you make money and really to arm you with additional perspective, which is the same thing I do here. And so let's look at some of the videos I've made. I've talked about how Grant Cardone and Cardone Capital works. I've talked about how Grant Cardone makes money from his 10X growth conferences and why it makes sense to give away free tickets if necessary. I've talked about the dirty little secret behind rent where you live and own what you can rent. I've talked about the secret behind sell your house and invest with me. I've talked about why Grant tells you not to invest in homes. I've talked about Grant's emails. I've talked about how Grant Cardone endorses sometimes what I believe to be corrupt companies. These are my opinions based on publicly available information. Now, let's be very clear. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Every video that I make that has Grant Cardone's name in the title gets more views. It is what it is. The very first video I made that launched my interest in really making this channel was titled, "What So-and-so Isn't Telling You," yet another real estate YouTuber. Yet that person I consider to be one of my best and closest friends. I hope they still feel that way about me. And we work together to educate as many of you as possible. Oftentimes with completely free information. All we do is ask that you watch some of our ads or whatever, skip the ad, but maybe just don't complain about them. I haven't been officially served papers yet, but I know I'm about to be served because you may have seen my post on Instagram. If you don't follow me yet on Instagram, that's where you'll get the latest, most up-to-date information when it's fresh off the press. But a few days ago, I personally DM'd Grant Cardone, Captain Ryan, and Jared Gallant to apologize for delivering them Christmas flowers and making critical videos of them. I went on to say that I expect 2019 to be a year in which I discontinue making such videos about them and their organization, that I would focus my attention elsewhere. I said that hopefully we could let bygones be bygones, and Grant actually had a very sincere and I thought thoughtful reply when he said that, "Kevin, you're talented, but you don't need to make other people wrong to show that you're right." Honestly, I thought that was an incredible line, and I'm only saying it here because I want to publicize that I support so many of Grant's business practices. I've called him brilliant. 80% of the information I put out about him, even though 100% of the titles might appear negative, 80% of the actual information is such that you would be inspired to be awestruck. You would be thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I want to follow in these footsteps. This is something to admire with tweaks. But then again, come on, who doesn't have flaws? He just happens to be the largest real estate YouTuber and happens to be the one most ripe for targeting because, again, that is the nature of YouTube. Well, now Grant Cardone is illegally suing me to suppress my right to free speech, and I cannot have that precedent be set on YouTube. Therefore, I am posting this video. Now look, I realize I took things too far when I went to deliver Christmas flowers to Grant Cardone's office. It was stupid, it was childish, it was unprofessional, it was, again, inspired by completely the wrong reasons. It was exactly what I tell you not to do, which is don't fall victim to the toxicity of relativity. Some of my very first videos I've made talked about that, and I realize now in hindsight that I fell victim to that exact same thing, that thinking that, well, if I could make a successful prank video, that would be fun, that would be hilarious, that would, lift everybody's spirits. And again, I look back, I go, it was stupid. If I could undo it, I would undo it. I would never do that again. And my one stint at making a prank video failed miserably, and I'm done. I'm not going to make prank videos like that again. And let me tell you exactly why. Because when you enter this kind of arena and you show up to deliver flowers, there's always the potential for things to get out of hand because you step on what is known as the slippery slope. That is, you might have good intentions, but all of the other factors around and other people's reactions could just be enough of a nudge to push you onto the slippery slope further to where all it takes is a little bit of a slip and you're going downhill. And that's unfortunately what happened there. It's a perfect example. That is, everything is going good until it's not. And what went wrong? Grant Cardone's staff in front of me, when, of course, at the moment, again, looking back, it was a mistake, it was stupid, but in the moment, there I am thinking, here we are delivering flowers for Christmas for him and his staff, nicely putting them in the sort of front landscape area. And this is when a Grant Cardone staff member walks out of the back and takes from the wagon that we had delivered the flowers in and starts throwing the expensive full-size poinsettia flowers into the dumpster. This is where I slipped, and things devolved. It was stupid, and I apologize for that. I completely apologize for that. And because you might be wondering exactly what happened, because I did take the video down, and the video didn't even show all of the details, it was filled with music and didn't cast things in the correct light anyway, here is the actual police report. Note, it is an informational report, which means there was no crime because there was no crime. Stupid? Yes. Unprofessional? Yes. Would I do it again? No. It was dumb. It was a mistake. And I'm sorry. Paffrath and some other people, blah, 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 on today's date at 09:45 hours, dressed as Santa Claus and elves, unloaded a U-Haul truckload of poinsettias, entered the business, stated Merry Christmas to the Cardones, Paffrath was approached by security and advised to exit the property and was subsequently tackled by security until police arrived. Further investigation revealed the incident was a social media prank. The males involved recovered the poinsettias and left the scene without incident. So needless to say, I made a lot of mistakes in 2018, and I'm sorry for that. I hope to never remake those mistakes. But now I'm being illegally sued and forced into costly litigation. And look, I've made other mistakes, and I try to adjust every time. For example, my trademark slogan, providing more. I took too far in 2018. I became a licensed lender and a licensed contractor, and Lauren became a stager, and we had a warehouse with staging supplies and offered contracting services at a discount to make our clients' lives even easier than we were already making them. It wasn't until midway through 2018 that I realized that initial connection that I had with clients that said, I'm here to get you the best deal, became one of a conflicted interest. How could I, as a realtor, say, I'm going to get you the best deal on contracting renovations? Oh, but wait, you're the contractor. I wish I had asked that question before I spent $300,000 on the business idea. Certainly, was it a great idea? In my opinion, yes. I think it's still a great idea. I think real estate and construction should be combined. If I did it again, I could probably improve it and make it work very, very well. But I would have to go in with a completely different strategy and with the right support staff and with better systems in place. So I've adjusted, and instead I've decided to dedicate more time to family in 2019 and not being perhaps as critical of others. And yet here is a frivolous lawsuit designed to time vampire exactly that. Look, I'm not saying it's without, hey, you got slapped by the bear you've been poking. I get it. And I'm not saying I don't have a character flaw in that I feel cavalier in sharing information that I feel the public should know and deserves to know when it's public information, and I share clarity or light onto something so that you could have the correct perspective as to things that I think are unethical. My opinions. I just want to share my opinions here. That's my goal. It just sucks when people with tens of millions of dollars can file a lawsuit for maybe $250 in filing fees and maybe $1,000 in fees to an attorney, and could in theory drag you into a highly burdensome, litigious legal battle where you are solely trying to defend yourself from an illegal lawsuit, which at initial estimates could cost anywhere between $100,000 to $300,000. Now look, that's a lot of money. The reports aren't done yet, but in 2018, in real estate commissions, we probably earned just over $600,000 in gross commissions. Now, obviously, after taxes and expenses, that could probably be much less. But a lawsuit like this would pretty much eradicate an entire year's worth of stress and hard work and missed date nights and missed birthdays. So the burden is significantly higher on the whistleblower, essentially. Of course, what's very unfortunate is when one party sues another, and then the party that made the critical videos takes those videos down, it somewhat incentivizes other people to also sue to have videos removed, as if there's some kind of lawsuit precedent. And this is very, very bad for YouTube. Very bad for YouTube when businesses can sue businesses that are critical of them, providing public information just to give consumers another perspective. Now, before I talk a little bit more about the lawsuit, one of the good things that did come out of 2018 was my very successful real estate investing course and real estate agent sales course. We also now have a crash course, an in-person crash course available. These educational platforms have been so well received by you that I actually have plans to make 2019 a year in which I spend time traveling to other parts of the country or even internationally to interview successful real estate investors in different areas and provide you more perspective. Some of that will be on YouTube. A lot of that content will be in the real estate investing course or sales course. So those of you who are already part of it and have locked in or are locking in your already low prices, you're just going to get surprised and rewarded with even more content. I will never let you down. Any of you who trust in me, who subscribe to me, who pay me money, oh my gosh, that is the highest possible vote of confidence, and I will never let you down. You know, people say money can't buy you happiness, and that's very true. What buys me happiness are Instagram DMs like this. You're the man. I had just video replied to a question he had on Instagram DMs. By the way, I ended up enrolling in the real estate investing course back in September, which that was when it had 0 content. This person trusted me. It's been awesome. Thank you very much. You're giving the value of a whole college course with the price tag of a single class. Happy New Year's. Well, first of all, thank you. And second of all, wow, those are some cheap classes, man. When I was going to college, I think each credit cost like $500 or $600. Each class was like 3 or 4 of those. But hey, good for you. And thank you. Okay, let's go into a little bit more detail on this lawsuit. Here's what happens when you get sued. And again, let me be very clear, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. It should not be misconstrued as legal advice. Everything I'm saying could be wrong. I have not been served lawsuit papers yet, but thanks to the grapevine, I know it's coming. When you get served, usually the first thing in the package is something called a preliminary or temporary injunction. And this is something that says, hey, you're not allowed to do X until we have an actual injunction hearing, and essentially the lawsuit begins. Now, anytime in a lawsuit, there's a hearing coming up, there are emails that go back and forth, there are negotiations that happen, there are phone calls that happen, and these like hearings and dates and calendared subpoenas and professional interviews for damages and this, that, and financial experts and auditors and all this stuff costs tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars, even if you're just defending yourself. In addition to that, I'm being sued in the state of Florida, which is inconvenient for me given that I live in California. However, according to my basic and preliminary research online, Florida happens to be one of 28 states that has something called an anti-SLAPP law. Now, I'm gonna mess it up, so let me just read to you what anti-SLAPP is, and then let's go into some more details. SLAPP, a strategic lawsuit against public participation, SLAPP with 2 Ps, is a lawsuit that is intended to censor, intimidate, and silence critics by burdening them with the cost of a legal defense until they abandon their criticism or opposition. Such lawsuits have been made illegal in many jurisdictions on the grounds that they impede freedom of speech. In a typical SLAPP, the plaintiff does not normally expect to win the lawsuit. The plaintiff's goals are accomplished if the defendant succumbs to fear, intimidation, mounting legal costs, or simply exhaustion and abandons the criticism. In some cases, repeated frivolous litigation against the defendant may raise the cost of directors' and officers' liability insurance for that party, interfering with an organization's ability to operate. A SLAPP may also intimidate others from participating in a debate. A SLAPP is often preceded by a legal threat. Basically, these SLAPP lawsuits are intended to shut up people who are critical of you. Because you have money and resources, you could sue people who are critical of you for some reason, which is usually defamation or stalking or harassment. One of these 3 things is the most common, at least from what I could research. Again, not an attorney, I don't know the statistics for this, whatever. But see, now the problem is, even though there are anti-SLAPP laws, you still somehow have to prove that the other party was slapping you. Now, you could do something like a slap back lawsuit. A lot of puns going on here, but these are actual terms you could Google. But the long and short of it is, it's a big, expensive headache designed to shut people up. But fear not, friends, I have an excellent team helping me through this. There is no chance Kevin will go down without a fight, and I strongly believe I'm going to win. But either way, nothing's going to stop me from providing you great, excellent free content here on YouTube, and of course, some more detailed and yes, paid content through the courses. Link below. Thanks for watching.